Alright, hi everybody. So here is your final project. The video I made last semester died, so here's the new one. I'll try to be as quick as possible and break it down into the certain sections that you need, alright? But the gist of everything here is that your final project is going to be you making a disaster movie plot revolving around an earthquake, volcano, or plate tectonic scenario here, using Google Earth and some AI generative images and things like that, which is pretty funny. So I'll show you an example of one from last semester that I thought worked out pretty well, and hopefully that'll give you something to think about. Alrighty, so the rough draft is going to be due Friday, May 17th. That's the important thing. The final is going to be Friday, May 24th. That's when our finals are. It'll be, well, I gotta look up at the time what time of morning it is, but once it's there, it should only take about an hour or so for everybody to do the presentations. And I'll explain a little bit more about those presentations in class itself, but they're going to be small group, low key, not in front of the whole class, but we're going to do multiple rotations through small groups, so you'll have a chance to share it more than once. You'll get to hear a lot of different ideas and give some constructive feedback for everyone. Alrighty, so like I said, your assignment, it's in that objective right there, but you need to creatively apply your newly found skills of earthquakes and volcanoes to becoming a science consultant for a major Hollywood movie studio. And a lot of my friends, acquaintances on social media and stuff that are really nerdy, good science folks, their background jobs are to consult on TV shows to make the science fiction look fairly real or fairly plausible, or give writers ideas of what's going on, because many of them have never had an earthquakes and volcanoes class. So if they're going for realism, or even if they're not going for realism and they just want to know what's goofy about it, they contact them, and that's how they get a little extra money, which is pretty cool. But your job is to use the earthquake and volcano sciences facts and earthquake and volcano science fiction to create a storyboard pitch here for a new summer blockbuster movie. And I guess it doesn't have to be a blockbuster movie, it can be a different type as well. But let me show you exactly what I mean. So a storyboard, when people are making movies, they sketch out everything like you're seeing here, that you see right over here. So like for Tomorrow Never Dies, it's a famous James Bond movie from the 90s. Basically, it's putting out the plot in picture format of, hey, we want them to do this here, we want them to do this there, helps them plan where their camera angles are going to go, etc., etc. So if you click that link, there's some really good examples of the storyboards and then the scenes that it actually turned into in real life. Alrighty, so it kind of helps them understand and plan things of what they want to go. So there's a link right there for storyboards if you want to find out some more. But the final result here is that you and up to 2 partners will create a series of pictures with written descriptions that describe events in your movie and turn them into a Google Earth web tour of where the events take place. So the setting is going to be you flying into a spot on Google Earth, and then once you do that, the storyboard images that you were just seeing, like right here, those storyboard images, one image will go into each spot within Google Earth, so that kind of shows the setting on a larger scene here. Okay, that's the goal, and I'll give you an example here in just a minute. But like I said, the goal of this is to get people excited to greenlight your movie and give you millions of dollars to make this. So the cooler it is, the more likely you are to get your money. Alrighty. The requirements. What do you need up front? Well, you need a story. So here's the thing. We're going to be using AI, or you can use AI, or you can draw your own as well, but we're going to be using AI to develop images based on prompts that you put in about your story. But your story, your whole storyline, the whole idea of the movie, that has to be your idea. Alright, so I don't want you to just put into ChatGPT or whatever, like, oh, give me a volcano movie plot or anything like that. I can tell. I know what AI looks like, alright, especially because it's very ill-trained on the sciences right now. So make it something that's unique and make it something that's your idea. Alright, it doesn't have to be a blockbuster. It can be, a love story. It can be a parody of anything that you can think of, whatever. All right. But basically, it can take place in the present, the past, the future, wherever you want. That plot is what's going to be turned into the storyboard. Alrighty. If you do decide to make kind of like a blockbuster version, kind of like a San Andreas or something, don't just rip it off. Use that as inspiration for sure, but then you can do other things about that. And it's also totally fine to not make a disaster movie, like I said. Excuse me. And I Lava You is a really sweet example, I think, of actually some pretty good volcano science here. I guess I'm out of water. Some pretty good volcano science here that if you've never seen it, it always makes me tear up a little bit, but I think you'll enjoy it. Alrighty? And so the geosciences, the storyboard scenes, will be placed into a minimum of 5 Google Earth web slideshow stops, and I'll show you how to make those in a minute. That goes from scene to scene to scene to scene. So let me kind of give you an example first, and then I'll pop back into some more of the requirements. So this is from a student last semester, or a group of students, I guess, from last semester, and I think they did a really great job here in Google Earth. So you can see the volcanologist over here on the left-hand side. The story is about a volcanologist has a dream where the goddess threatens to erupt and claims that only he can prevent this by sacrificing his wife or something. That's like the dream that the scientist has. So you'll see over on the right-hand side, well, actually, if I click slideshow like this, it dumps me into excuse me, the movie like this to begin with. And you'll see in the top right-hand corner, if I click on this, there is a large image. This was AI generated in style of anime, right? They put in an AI prompt here, and this is what it gave them. Maybe if I can get rid of that picture. But it gives you the idea for the storyboard about what's happening. It gives a brief explanation over here about what's happening. And you'll see in a minute, one of the requirements here is that you need to have elements of good science in there and elements of bad science in each one of these plots. So good science is like, hey, this could actually happen in real life. The bad science, or BS, is stuff that can't really happen, but if you stretch bad science far enough, it seems believable. All right. And then they also had to include what was the prompt they used to create the image up there. So that's what they all did on this first one. So you can see, oh, here's the good science, here's the bad science, here's the prompt. If you go over to the bottom left, you click the arrow over there, it flies into my next stop. And so this is where the next scene takes place. It's like in one of these buildings. And so the volcanologist is there studying all this other good stuff. All right. Then they go out on Sakamajura. What volcano was this? Yeah, Sakajirima, sorry. And in Japan. And so here they are setting up some instrumentation on that volcano. And I thought the AI did actually a fairly good job with some of these anime type style prompts. You'll see there's other examples of human pictures that's part of the fun, right? But anyways, good science, bad science, AI prompt. They did this really, really well. You can see the whole story here, where they're at on the volcano, where this scene takes place. And then there's where the final scene takes place. And then, well, I guess there's 7 scenes. So they're talking about the caldera, etc., etc. And then at the end, they have a citations list. So what did they use? Some of them used our lectures, our book. There's lots of other places, USGS and things like that, where you can find all that information. So that's basically the end product. And what you're going to be doing then is presenting a 2 or 3 minute flyby version of your story to other folks in small groups on that day of the final. So that will be your final, is presenting this in small groups and everybody going, ooh, ah, oh, okay. So getting back to the nitty-gritty details here. What are some of the vital geoscience information things that you need? Well, like I said, you need a minimum of 5 Google Earth slideshow stops. You need to include those drawn, photoshopped, or AI-generated images that demonstrate the plot of the scene. If you are into the art, draw your own. It doesn't have to be AI-generated for the images, but that's an option out there, okay? Like I said, you need to cite the original sources, though, of those photographs, of the AI, all that other kind of stuff. You need to really make sure you cite where all that stuff came from and give people their due. That's one of the cardinal sins these days of AI, especially, and Photoshop, is people just find internet images and go to town on them and don't give the original artist the credit that they need. All right. So the plot of each story then, of each slide, needs to be written out. So you've seen that in the example that I just showed you. But here's the important stuff too. The plot needs to revolve around at least 5 specific factual earthquake and volcano topics, all right, that we've covered this year, or plate tectonics. So it can range from data, the type of tools, the processes that you've learned, how things move. All of that is good. Don't be just like, oh, there's a volcano at a subduction zone. You know, we want to be a little bit more specific than that. Or if there is a volcano at a subduction zone, try to tie in some of the actual science around it. All right. If you want, you can also base characters on actual earthquake or volcano scientists. Let's see here. There we go. Might also be a bonus, but it doesn't have to count as a science fact. So if you want some people, if you need some people, let me know, and I can help you find some folks to base information on if you need it. So you must note on your storyboard what is factual geoscientific information, and you need to tell me what is also false. But all those factual things, you got to try to cite those MLA style on the final slide. Basically, MLA, you just plug it in, plug your resource into generators online, and it'll make the data for you in a bibliography or resource at the end, and piece of cake, right? So you don't have to work too hard on formatting that. And then the last thing here is your storyboard also needs to have at least 5 real-world settings where all this stuff takes place. So that is where the Google Earth comes into place. So you have your 5 scenes, you have your 5 good pieces of information, and then you need 5 stops. Now, this one happened all around a single volcano, but if you want to go gallivanting around the world, there's a worldwide crisis or something, that's totally fine too. It doesn't have to take place just in one spot. It can go anywhere in the world. All right. So basically, like you saw, people are going to fly into those to see your storyboard images and your descriptions. And then you also need at least 5 BS fabrications that stretches the truth. And you need to list those, and why is it bad science? So give me resources that show why is it bad? How is this not true? Make sure you explain this here at a college level, not like a 3rd or 4th grader or anything like that, but put a little bit of effort into it to tell me why it's bad. Okay? So when you put it all together, you get that final Google Earth slideshow, has at least those 5 slides, an introduction, an ending. Make sure it has the citations, and you're going to be good. Alrighty? And so you can see that this is what you got right there. And at the end, a 3 to 5 minute pitch for your project is what we're going for in those small groups. Alrighty? If for some reason people can't be there, or you can't make it, which you should be able to make it, but if you cannot make it, you're sick, or there's extenuating circumstances with sports or whatever, you can record it on Zoom and we'll figure it out. All right, at least your portion of it on Zoom. And if you want, here's some fun stuff, some inspirational research on how to maybe get some ideas about what to do. So Dante's Peak is an amazing movie. The volcano in that movie, believe it or not, doesn't exist. They filmed it in Idaho, and there's no volcanoes like that in Idaho. The Core is one of my favorites. I know that movie's script verbatim. Volcano is an amazing video of volcanoes erupting in the middle of downtown LA, and there's a lot of hilariously bad portrayals, and really nothing like that could ever happen, but there's so much bad science related to the good science. It's a hilarious movie. Anne Heche and Tommy Lee Jones is in that one. The Core has Hilary Swank and Aaron Eckhart and Delroy Lindo and Stanley Tucci. I mean, it's just all sorts of A-list folks in that one. Dante's Peak is, is that Pierce Brosnan? Yeah, I think Pierce Brosnan is Dante's Peak. San Andreas is The Rock, and then the original one, Earthquake in 1994, kind of kicks it all off. Alrighty? So, those are the must-haves. I gave you an example. I'll probably link to this example in, Canvas, so you guys can see it a little bit, and just kind of check it out. It's pretty cool. So now, the next part of this video is, well, how do I put all these things onto Google Earth? So that's what I'm going to show you now. So I've just created a brand new blank slide here. And on Google Earth, there's a couple things you need to know. Up on the left-hand side over here, you can see File, View, Add Tools, all other kind of stuff. The things that we're really going to be worried about are these little tools right over here, like adding a place mark and things like that. So what I want to do to start us off, I want to make a new file. And this is a Google Drive, so you got to sign into Google. All right, sign into Google, and basically everything you do here automatically saves. So I'm going to go to File, New Drive Project, like so. It's going to create a new project. I'm going to call this example Final Project Disaster Movie. Alrighty, so I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to type my description, pretend like I can type really fast. Alright, so that's where your description goes, and you hit save, and it'll automatically save it to your Google Drive. You'll be able to find it the next time you open up Google Earth too, if you needed to. Alright, so once you have all of the information that you need, what's pretty cool here is that you can go to anywhere in the world. So once you find your location, you want to zoom into that place, you can. If you don't know where it is or where you want to go, maybe you want to go to Kamchatka or something, which is, well, you'll see here. I just typed in Kamchatka to search. It's part of Russia. Here's the Kamchatka Peninsula. You can zoom out with your mouse wheel like so. You can scroll around. But oh, here's some volcanoes. There's some really interesting ones right here. So a couple of ways to navigate around Google Earth. Hopefully you know, if you hold down the Shift key and then your mouse button, that just helps you kind of grab around, and I guess you don't even need to hold the Shift key. You can do it without it now. If you hold the Control key down, that'll let you kind of look up and down and to the left and right from a single vantage point. And then if I hit Alt, the Alt key, and then click and hold, let's see here. Maybe it's Shift and Control. There we go. Sorry, they changed the keys. If you hit Shift and Control, it'll allow you to rotate around a single point like this. Okay. If you have a touch screen, you can rotate it with fingers and stuff like that, and it does very similar things. So you can zoom in and zoom out using your mouse wheel, or you can also zoom in and zoom out down in the bottom left-hand corner of Google Earth, which my what do you call it? My picture is overlaying right now. Okay, so let's say my volcano takes place right here. My story takes place here. How do I put a place mark there? Well, you just go up to the top left where it says Add Place Mark. You click the place mark like so onto the map. You give it a title, so maybe like Scene 1, and you'll see it should update here in a second to where it says Scene 1 on there. Piece of cake. And then the other important thing that I need you to do is when we want people to come in and see this scene, if this is what you want them to see, all right, if this is what you want them to see, then you got to click More Settings, go down to where it says Capture This View right over there, click that. It doesn't actually make that clicking sound, but click that Capture This View, and what that does is it hones this as the view that anybody that flies into here now, this is what they're going to see. So for example, I could go over to here. I'm just going to zoom out. I'm going to fly over the world. I'm going to spin around, not trying to get you sick. But if I double click over here to go back to Scene 1, it'll take me there and take me right back to that view. So this is important. I want to make sure that everybody, when you fly into these scenes, you're flying into a 3D view. Don't just fly in and give me, oh, there's a volcano. That's a boring view. All right, utilize Google Earth for what it is, and make sure that it's 3D. Piece of cake. Alrighty. So that's how you add the scenes. You also will need to add, let's see here. See right at the beginning where it says Add Slide. So if you click Add Slide, you can rearrange the order of these over on the left-hand side by just dragging and dropping. But this is going to be my title slide because I forgot to put the title in there. So I'm going to move that up to the top, or maybe I guess I'll move Scene 1 down after I get done writing it. So maybe that's what I need to do after I'm done writing. All right, so here's my title. I promise it'll go over there in a minute. So title, information, background, etc. All right, so that's kind of the big thing that you're going to put right over there. If you want to add a background image, you can turn this on and you can upload a background image, and that way when they have the introduction, they'll have that background image there. Piece of cake. Alrighty. So I'm going to be done with this. I think I should call this title. All right, and when you're done, you can just click that like so. And really, it should be able, there we go, finally. It should slide up to the top and stay stuck right over there. So then, when you go to the next place, you'll just fly around whatever new place that you're going to. If you want to add another place mark, zoom in, you can do that. Or there's also another thing, so that's one way to add a place mark, and I'm not going to add any more details to it because I don't really care about this one. But if you go down into the bottom left, let's see here underneath, there's my 2D. I'm trying to look through my picture here, so where's my stick person? There we go. If you click the stick person, it should show you anywhere that highlights in these blue with dots, that'll give you a street view. And so if you click the stick person, that'll highlight. And if you want to use one of these street views to fly in, so it's not just a mountain, but you can actually see what it looks like in real life. Man, look at all those people backpacking. That looks like fun. They must have had a really long hike, I guess. I don't know. So anyways, if you want to zoom into here and save this as the view that you want to be as the background, if you go down to the bottom left-hand corner, click Capture View, like so, that will get saved back into your thing over here as Untitled Street View. So that's where then you would go in and say, oh, scene 2, and this is like street view of whatever. So you click description, and this is where you would type all your good stuff. All right. Now, when you want to add your media, there's things like there's a lot of AI free image software, like trying to think here. Starry AI is an example. I'm not gonna like advertise any particular one, but there's one where you can sign up and get free stuff, and you can say, here's my prompt, type in the words of what you want it to depict, and it'll give you like 3 or 4 examples in a certain genre. And then once you get that, you can save the image, and once you save the image, you go to media and you would upload that image to Google Earth, and that's how it would pop up onto here, like in this other image that other folks did. So they literally they typed in this prompt, have the couple seem concerned about an imminent eruption at the volcano or something like that. So I think they added a lot more to it than just that, but I think it was like a series of things that kept building on itself. All right, and so once they got the AI image, this is where they went and this is where they put it in. So piece of cake. That's how you add the images. That's how you add the scenes. You can draw the images yourself if you want, 100%, and go from there. So if you check this out, I've already saved everything. Like I said, I can just click out of this piece of cake, and I can, well, maybe zoom into it. There you go, double click, and it'll fly in. So what's kind of interesting is when we're all done with this, when everything's ready to go, all you got to do is click slideshow up here. Here's the title slide that I didn't fill out, but that's going to be your title. Then you'll go into scene 1 with all the information, and you'll see it'll, well, I guess I didn't type in any information, but when you do type in information, it'll pop up over in the bottom or top right-hand corner of things for people to click on to look at and see what's going on, just like you have over here. Alrighty, so that's how you use Google Earth. If you want, you can also add, I should show you this, you can also add areas or lines, so you don't have to use these, but if you just click all around, every time I'm clicking, it's like leaving a polygon on here, and then when I double click, so you can make it so they zoom into a shape if you want to highlight a shape. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but in case you do, that's where you do it. Alrighty, so that's everything. This is what you're going to present. This is basically everything you need. Oh, and I will put up a rubric right here. I have the rubric, but I'll put it up here in just a few minutes on this as well, so you can click on it and see exactly what you need to hit It's basically this, but in rubric form. Alrighty, so that's the final project. This is the full video of everything, so if you need to remember how to do that, I guess come back and watch this video. That's what I'll tell you in class on Wednesday. And, well, good luck and have some fun.